What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Welcome to part 2, episode 2 of the Game of Thrones live discussion. We'll let more people come into this stream here. See if any more OE Knights join in. So come on in. We're going to have a full-blown spoiler discussion on episode 2 of Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, baby. Okay, so we'll let more people come in, see who joins us. Where's my steel? Where's my blade? Started the stream, didn't even grab my blade. Here we go. Now I feel complete. I got my blade, the BM. I named her the BM, the bastard maker of House Oenitis. This steel has been in my family for generations, for I am the one true king. I'm the one true king of the 7 realms, the protector of the realms. And we're going to be talking episode 2, House of the Dragons, spoiler discussion. So we'll see who else shows up in this stream. Let me see here. Okay. All right. We got a first question already. Only Robot in the chat. What's your rating on the episode? I was going to get into that a little bit. I'll give you the rating right now. Let's see. Last week, episode 1. I loved episode 1. Great intro to the show. Cinematically, it just felt just above like anything that the previous season did. Like, it felt way more cinematic. Like, the first episode compared to the first season of Game of Thrones, it's like a movie. It felt like a movie. And initially, I thought this season 1 of Game of Thrones was going to be one and done. I thought they were just going to condense the whole Targaryen dynasty, civil war, the whole Dance of Dragons. I thought they were going to condense this whole story into one season, 10 episodes. So I thought things were going to be rushed. Like, we were going to have boom, 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 storyline, plot point, twist. But it just got renewed for a second season, so that's surprising. So we're going to get more House of the Dragons. So I have no idea where this story is going to end by the time this first season ends. So, yeah, I completely thought it was one and done, but no, it's already renewed for season 2. But to follow up on your question that I danced around, because I was going to get to it later, I'd give the episode 3.5 O's out of 5. It was a good episode. In terms of like storytelling, a lot of pieces moved forward. I mean, a lot of things. It was a quieter episode, but a lot of pieces moved forward. A lot of relationships were fractured in the scheme of things. So, yeah, it was an important episode nonetheless. Like some monumental things happened in this episode. So I'd give it 3.5. I'd give it 3.5. Still completely hooked and can't wait to see what happens in episode 3. So we'll see if anyone joins in the chat, and I'm just gonna get started right away. I actually wrote notes. I never write notes. I actually wrote notes of what the hell I was gonna talk about. So yeah, I love Sundays, man. Sundays are a great day. Game of Thrones, and this is the first year ever I think we've had Game of Thrones and NFL football on at the same time. So you can watch NFL football all day, and then come 6 o'clock, if you don't want to watch the nightly game, you watch Game of Thrones. So if my Chargers aren't playing in the night game, and depending on how I feel, if they lose or win, you bet your damn ass I'm watching Game of Thrones, or I'm crying in my bed for the next 4 hours after they disappoint me once again. But enough about football, and back to Game of Thrones. House of the Dragons, episode 2. They opened up with a new title crawl, but the same music, that dan 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 dan. Shout out to Ramin Djawadi. What a great composer, man! What a great composer. He's a legend. So a lot of people were ticked off that they're using the same theme song, which I'm fine with it. I kind of respect it. But I could have used a new song, just used a Targaryen theme, like a version of that, and make it the intro. That would have been fine with me. But either way, it's not something I'd complain about. Like, I love the song. I'm glad it's back. So, Irish Blessing. College football is where it's at, bud. Love the intro. College football. See, I'm not a big college football guy. If I got friends rooting for a team, I'll watch it. But I just never got into college football team. ASU, I live in Arizona. ASU was a team to go to, but ASU always was just a disappointment. Miami, back in the day, the U, baby, with all those stars came out of, like when they had that tremendous year. I guess Miami was one of my favorite teams. But other than that, yeah, I really don't watch college football. But you're sidetracking me here, Irish Blessing. I was back to the Game of Thrones. I lost my... What was I talking about? Oh, I was talking about the title crawl. Haven't even talked about the episode yet. Haven't even got the spoilers. I'm talking about the title. Yeah, a lot of people were annoyed that they used the same song as the regular Game of Thrones, but not me. We'll see if anyone else joins. Give it about a minute or two. But yeah, I love Sundays. NFL football, Game of Thrones, church, whatever, it's a good day. Spend some time with the family, watch some sports, and then you watch Game of Thrones to, end everything. You get your daily dose of violence, sex, treachery. So if that's the way you want to end your Sunday night, you got Game of Thrones House of the Dragon. But I love it, man. Week to week, just waiting, anticipating, speculating. That's a lot of things. Viewers who are new to Game of Thrones, they had the luxury of binge watching like every single episode. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, this person died. Oh, I gotta see what happens next. Click. They watch the next episode. Me, I've been watching every episode week to week since the first season. I binged the whole first season. After that, it was week to week for me. So every death, every betrayal, you just had to sit there and take it, and just sit there in your sorrowfulness, and just be like, "What the hell did I just witness?" Like sit there in the dark and in the silence, just in awe of what just happened. And how Game of Thrones just completely it sets your hopes up, That's what Game of Thrones does. It's kind of like the NFL in a way where, your team, you're rooting for your team so much and you think they're going to win, and then boom, they drop the ball at the last second. That's kind of the tempo of Game of Thrones in a nutshell. It's like you're rooting for people and then something happens. You're like, oh, shit, my favorite character just died. What the hell am I going to do now? So the up and downs of Game of Thrones, one of my favorite parts. So, all right, enough about football. We're getting straight into episode 1, okay? I've been rambling on. This intro's taking forever. People are sidetracking me, although I do love talking about football. So All right, so let's start off with the beginning of the episode. The episode, we had the small council scene. Great small council scene. I love the small council scenes. Where we have Rhaenyra over here in the middle. She's the cupbearer. So that's kind of similar to the role that Arya had when she was in disguise, serving Tywin Lannister in Harrenhal. So that's kind of her role. She's supposed to, she's like a glorified waitress or server. She just fills up the cups of all these of the king, her father, and all these guys talking. But at the same time, she gets to observe and learn the ways of politics and maneuvering from all these veterans. Even though in this episode, Rhaenyra really shines. Like, this is her episode. She does a lot of cool things, especially in the beginning of the scene. They're all talking. They're all trying to figure shit out. And Corlys Velaryon, he introduces the new conflict that his family has in the shipping lanes, because his family is in charge of the trade. A lot of the trade that comes in, they're being attacked by pirates in the Free Cities. And, of course, King Viserys, he's such a cool dude, right? He's a cool dude, but he's too passive, too soft. He doesn't want to create conflict if he doesn't have to. So that's going to be a problem for him. But, no, he doesn't want to start war, but Rhaenyra offers, hey, let's use what we got, which is the X Factor, which is our dragons. And of course, Viserys is like, no, we can't do that. You don't know what you're talking about. You know what? We got a better job for you, Rhaenyra. Go pick the new Kingsguard. So that's what she does. She ends up picking the new Kingsguard. And that was a pretty interesting scene because you see where her mindset is at. And she's got the IQ for the game because instead of just picking, interesting or prominent houses, she picks Kingsguard Kristen Cole, who won the tourney. He beat Daemon Targaryen. So he's one of the only few soldiers out there who's actually seen real battle. And she's like, if I'm going to have soldiers protect my king or me, if I should ever take the throne, I want experienced soldiers. And this guy knows what he's doing. So she picks him, even though he's kind of a nobody at this point. So yeah, she picks this dude, Christian Cole. Look at this guy. He looks like a young John Stamos or something. But yeah, she picks this guy, and this guy's a sleeper, man. Don't sleep on this guy. He's going to have a role to play in the scheme of things. So Christian? I think it's Kristen Cole. So he got promoted to Kingsguard. So we see him at the end too when Sir Otto Hightower confronts Daemon Targaryen. But that was kind of the first thing that happens in this show. I'm just going to go through the major plot points that happen. And then really this episode had a lot to do with Corlys Velaryon and what he's trying to offer the king, which, man, poor Viserys, man. I think in this episode, like 5 months or something has passed, like several months has passed since the first episode, and people are sensing that his line is weak. People are not buying, the whole naming Rhaenyra the heir. So they're not buying that yet, or at least a lot of them are kind of apprehensive. So they're looking for a more traditional successor to the throne, which is, hey, Viserys, get married and produce a male heir. So that's what a lot of this episode had to do with. Irish blessing. I think this series has promise or just a money grab based on how popular Game of Thrones was. Looks like the Prince from Shrek. Who looks like the Prince from Shrek? Oh, the good-looking dude with... Yeah. Yeah, he's like Jaime Lannister. I don't know if you've seen the first season or the first Game of Thrones. He looks like Jaime Lannister if he was like, had brown hair or something. So, yeah, I could see that. But, yeah, so Corlys Velaryon and his wife, who is Viserys' older sister, who is the queen that never was. I don't know if I really like her character so far. She doesn't had a lot to do, but Rhaenys, so far, she's been just in the background, and she's just been pretty smug and bitter because she wasn't chosen as the ruler. But, yeah, I don't if we were supposed to not like her character so far, if that's the way they're portraying her, yeah, I'm not really a fan of her so far. But then again, she hasn't had much to do, but she does have a interesting conversation with Rhaenyra about, just telling her, like, hey, I know you're the heir, but shit ain't gonna change. These guys are gonna do what they've been doing. So don't get your hopes up. Pretty much like you think you're gonna sit on the Iron Throne, you're not, because this world isn't ready for a queen. And Rhaenyra, in true Targaryen fashion, she um, shows little hints of Daenerys Targaryen, where she says, "Well, you know what? I'll create a new order to change all that. Like if they're not ready for a queen, I'll make it happen." So Rhaenyra, she's got her sights on the throne too. She got her sights on the throne too. Like she wants that shit, which is interesting. But all right. What else happened after that? So after that scene, it's really creepy what Corlys is trying to do, right? So in order to get Viserys and to marry, he has to, or to, get an heir or whatever. He's offered his youngest daughter, or not youngest daughter, I think this is his oldest daughter. This is all he had to offer, which is Laena Velaryon. And she's only 12 years old. It gets really creepy in this episode, man. It gets really creepy. And it's so awkward because King Viserys, the actor who plays him, does such a good job, because as the audience, we're like, man, this is just creepy. Like, this guy's offering his 12-year-old daughter to be queen and to marry this king who's like 40, 50 or whatever. But, it's I don't even want to talk about this scene because the conversation's weird as hell. It's so awkward. But even Viserys is like, what the hell am I doing? Like, this is so weird. This girl's 12. And she's like, well, when 14, I could bed you. And it's such an awkward, creepy scene, but that's the way it was, and that's how desperate and that's what these lords are willing to do to get a prominent place in their bloodline on the throne is, hey, as soon as my daughter's ready, you can have her, make her have a son, boom. So, yeah, this is such a crazy scene. But I like how the way the actor Viserys played it. He's completely mortified in a very subtle way at this whole situation. But in the scheme of things, in the Game of Thrones, this would be the smartest choice because the Velaryons own a prominent place in the shipping lanes, and they have a huge fleet. So boom, there you go, land, sea, air. They'll run everything. Land, sea, air, that's what you want. So, and spoiler alert, he doesn't pick her, but I'll get to that later. But this scene already, it was so uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable seeing, all these people. There's really not a lot of people to root for. Like, everyone just wants power. Like, really the only people you're rooting for in the show so far are the Targaryens. Like, I like Viserys, I like Rhaenyra, I like Daemon. Everyone else is, like, just power hungry. That's the way I see it so far. Like, I sympathize more with the King and Targaryens than anyone else. But then we have this good scene with Alicent Hightower, who, of course, her father, Otto Hightower, has set her on... she's on the goal of kind of winning the affection of Viserys. But the way they interact and the way they talk... it's very subtle. Like, she's not trying too hard to be flirty or whatever. It's she has like real sympathy and care for the king. Like when in this scene right here where they're talking, like there's no like undertones of like trying to gain each other's affection or whatnot. It's a real conversation, and Viserys goes into a little history, like the sculpture here of Old Valyria, which was pretty cool. He goes into that and talks about the ancient magic that came out of the Doom, the volcano, which Valyria is, for all you out there, that's the place where the Targaryens came from. And the dragons, there was a volcano there, and rumors are that that volcano had a bunch of magical shit in it that made all the people who lived there able to ride dragons and communicate with dragons. And there was a lot of ancient power or whatnot that came from this island, and then the volcano took everything out, the cataclysm, the Doom of Valyria, and the Targaryens were the only people that make it out of there. That and the Velaryons and some other bloodlines or whatever, but that's Valyria, which he went into detail about it. It was pretty cool. I always like these casual conversations that also explain the lore and the history. So this was a good scene. I liked it a lot. And it shows how close these two are becoming. And it's not even creepy. Like, he's just glad he has someone to talk to. Like, so later on when he has to make a decision, it's like you get why he picked her. But I'll get into that in a little bit. But that was a good scene. I like that scene a lot. What else we got here? We got this scene with Rhaenyra and Alicent where they're praying in some sort of where is it? This is not the sept or this is not the sept, right? This is their own lair, like the Targaryen is in the House of the Dragons. Like this is their own place where they pray. I'm not sure. Is that the sept? I'm not sure if that's the sept, but that was a good scene. And this might be the last scene where we see Rhaenyra and Alicent as close as they are, because they're best friends. But I don't think they're going to be best friends for long, and I'll explain that later, or we'll get to that story point later. But this was a good scene. And here, this is the main event so far for me. This was the highlight of the episode by far, which was the encounter with Daemon Targaryen and Otto Hightower, because Daemon, who for most of the episode he was MIA, but the King's Council was informed that Daemon Targaryen has stolen a dragon egg, and he brought it to Dragonstone, where he's kind of hunkering down with his 2,000 men that were formerly the City Watch of King's Landing, which I don't get. Like, if he has the City Watch of King's Landing, like, who's policing King's Landing? Like, because there was 2,000 men, and now they're Daemon's men. So, what the hell is it? Like, is King's Landing, like, is it like Chicago now? Just complete crime all the time? So, they didn't explain that. In the chat, we got AZB Kings. That will be her stepmom. Yeah, Alicent. I'm going to get to that a little later. But just imagine if Lena, Corlys Velaryon, the 12-year-old girl, can you imagine if she was chosen? She would have a 12-year-old stepmom. That would be even more... Actually, I don't even know. What's more awkward? Having a 12-year-old stepmom or having your best friend as a stepmom? I don't know which one is more awkward. Both, I mean, horrible situation either way. But back to the Dragonstone scene. So Daemon Targaryen, he's hunkering down in Dragonstone. Just kind of, he's a wild card. Like, so he's stolen the dragon egg, and this dragon egg was meant for Balon, which was the heir for a day. That was this dragon egg was meant for Balon, which in the Targaryen culture is when they're a baby, they lay an unhatched dragon egg in their bed, so they kind of grow closer. So whenever that dragon hatches, it'll automatically be closer to that Targaryen baby, and they'll have a bond, a forged bond. So that's why he stole the egg with his whore, I forget her name. It starts with an M. But she was in the whorehouse. They're in love, I guess. And he's informed the realm that he's getting married. And he even invited Viserys to go down there to Dragonstone. Which, Dragonstone, man, that's my favorite castle. That's my favorite castle. And Dragonstone is in the previous Game of Thrones. That's where Stannis Baratheon ruled, and then after him, that's where Daenerys Targaryen took over when she touched down in Westeros. So that's Dragonstone, and that's my favorite castle by far, man. That war room where it has that cave, that open cave that just looks over the sea. Favorite throne room by far. That's where I think that's where I'd like to have a castle. Jared Edson says, whereas Game of Thrones episode 1 got me hooked right away, episode 1 of the show made you feel, well, I don't know how to feel. Yeah, I could see that. I could see how that for some people. You don't know what it's doing for you? Yeah. I'm trying to think of the tempo of Game of Thrones compared to the tempo of House of the Dragon so far. House of the Dragon definitely feels more personal because it's less world building. It's more maneuvering. We got all these characters, and it's mostly focused on the Targaryens. As in Game of Thrones, it was so immersive. I mean, you had a huge storyline in this part of the world, then a huge storyline over here in this part of the world. I mean, it just got you hooked because you're like, man, I love exploring all these different parts of the realm. Where this feels a lot more cinematic and paced like a short series. Like, things are moving fast. We really don't get to hang out that much because the plot feels like it's moving way more faster than the original series. So I get what you're saying you're not sure how to feel about this show, but I like it. I'm hooked. I'm hooked. AZB Kings episode 1 was a 9.0. Episode 2 was a 3.7. Whew, that's rough. That's rough. I don't know how you go from a 9 to a 3.7. I'd give this episode, out of a 10 scale, I'd give it like a 7.2. Like, it got the plot moving. It got the plot moving a lot. But really, this scene right here with Daemon Targaryen and his encounter with Otto Hightower, that was definitely the highlight. But if you go back and watch that episode, man, a lot of pieces are moving. Jared Edson says, I have many issues with the episode 2. I absolutely find it lazy they use the same theme song for the opening credits. It just screams, well, we're afraid to create a new, unique song. I did say that in the beginning. I would have preferred like a Targaryen-themed opening, but I love the opening theme song, so they could change it along the way. I don't see why not. AZB Kings, I think the theme song is money. I hope they continue using the theme song for all sequels to the show. They could. That's one of the problems with Star Wars. If you watch some of the Star Wars movies, or the new movies, they don't use the original John Williams music. They use like knockoff, generic $2 themes, and it makes it feel cheap. So yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the way I see it. But back to the scene right here. So yeah, Daemon's chilling in Dragonstone. He hasn't accepted the fact that Rhaenyra has been named the heir. So yeah, he's got his girl here, and he's got the encounter with Hightower, which was pretty damn intense. I love this encounter with Hightower. They've just been jarring at each other since the first episode. So anytime they get to square off, it's always entertaining because there's so much tension between these two. And Otto Hightower, you got to give him credit. I can't believe he had the balls to march up this Dragonstone and just square off against Daemon. You know he's got 2,000 men, and you know he has dragons. But I guess he called Daemon's bluff into not doing anything. It's like, give us the egg, or you're going at war with the king. Which Daemon, you could tell he has love for his family. He has love for his brother Viserys and even Rhaenyra in a weird way. But you could tell he still has love for his family. Whether his ambition is to be king, or really I think he just wants attention and to be a prominent figure for his brother. But since the small council's against him, and he's kind of perceived as reckless, impulsive, and a wild card, he's kind of choosing his own path now. So now we'll see what he does. But I love this whole conversation, the whole square down on this, or square face off, whatever, on this bridge. I love that. It was a great looking scene. Although you could tell they were kind of in front of CGI. I thought it was a great scene. But Nevrock, I loved it. It was a good episode. It kept the plot moving forward. Jared Edson, my other issue is Matt Smith's character. He hyped his character to be very unlikable, that everyone would hate him. Yeah, Matt Smith plays Daemon Targaryen. I agree. There's really no clear-cut villain to hate yet. And even Daemon, I was just saying, he doesn't seem like a bad guy. He's sympathetic. Especially in this scene right here. He folded. They called his bluff, especially when Rhaenyra comes in. Boom, on a dragon. She comes in out of nowhere. She's tired of sitting at home. No one wants to listen to her. She does it herself, which it worked. It worked because that was a huge moment, because it showed that Daemon really wasn't ready to go up against Rhaenyra. So he could have killed her right then and there and caused all hell to break loose. And yeah, if he kills her right there, I wonder what happens. I honestly do. But she shows up. She says, "Look here, uncle. Like, if you kill me, you get what you want. That's all you got to do." And he doesn't. He throws her the egg, gives her the egg back, and boom, on his way back home. And we get a peaceful resolution. But it's not the end of it. Jared Edson, we're 2 episodes in, and I'm just wondering, okay, why are we supposed to hate your character? At best, I find the character a minor nuisance, but hateful? Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know I didn't see that interview where he said people were going to hate his character. I definitely don't think he's a pure villain yet, which I don't know who's going to be like the Joffrey of this series. Time will tell. Time will tell. Because if you go back and watch season 1, you really don't know who's the bad guy, who's the good guy. I guess you do, because Jaime Lannister does bone his sister and then push a small child out of a window. But like Joffrey, you really don't really hate. I guess you really do hate Joffrey too. Yeah, but he doesn't become the sinister asshole until a little later on. Andy Andal Bliss says, "Nah, Damon is a great dude. He's a cool dude, great dude. I don't know. I don't know if he's a good. I don't know if he's a great dude. He's definitely cool. I like Damon." But yeah, Rhaenyra shows up on her dragon, and which was a cool scene. I saw it coming, but it was cool how the clouds, how they hear something and they pan over to the clouds and you just see the ripples. That was badass. And she flies up, confronts her uncle. He gives her the egg back, and that's that. She goes back home. There's a conversation with her and her father where he's mad at first because Viserys, man, like I said, good dude. He's too soft. Viserys is too soft. But she got things done. She got it done peacefully. So you think that's the end of it. But then we have the whole scene where Viserys names who he will wed, which I didn't think it was going to happen this episode. I thought it was going to happen maybe a couple episodes down the line, but things are moving kind of fast. Andal Bless says the bad people are not born yet. Who's not born? Oh, you mean that the key players in this story? Yeah, there's a few characters we haven't been introduced yet because, yeah, this is a long story. Like, this story takes place over like a couple decades. Correct me if I'm wrong, there. Like, it's not like done in like 4 or 5 years. This takes place, and this is a long story to go through. So, and we're just getting started. Jared Edson says, and can we take a moment to talk about the upcoming villain, the Crab Feeder? Yeah, I was going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the Crab Feeder. Firstly, we're really digging at the bottom of the barrel for names. And secondly, he is basically Night King 2.0. I don't think he's Night King 2.0. I think he's going to be taken out within one episode. They just needed something to build up. AZB King's way too soft. He doesn't know how to handle the 7 kingdoms. Grow some nuts, King. Well, AZB Kings, he did keep the peace for 9 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but he held the kingdom, or yeah, I think even his father before that or whatever, it was a peaceful kingdom, and he held shit together for 9 years. So he did what he had to do. But in times of war, he needs a better council, and I think Daemon would have balanced that out, but he's doing his own thing. But back to the scene here where Viserys makes the decision to wed Alicent Hightower, which, let me find that picture here. There, boom, Alicent Hightower. Otto Hightower, his chess moves, he's making moves, and they paid off because out of all the bonding and conversations that Alicent and King Viserys have had, he's decided to wed Alicent Hightower, which sends a rift. Rhaenyra is not happy about that. She why not? I mean, her best friend, who she had no inclination that she was even doing this behind her back. That's going to be an awkward conversation, and that sends a rift also with Corlys Velaryon, who, I mean, he was so cocky coming into that meeting because he thought Viserys is going to wed his daughter Laena. He was so cocky coming in, and he was so pissed off when he found out it wasn't his daughter. So he left, and I think the smart move, although it's so damn weird even talking about it, if he would have wed Laena, that's a smart move right there. Because, like I said, land, sea, air, they would have conquered everything by all. And now, at the end of the episode, we had Corlys Velaryon going to Daemon Targaryen for help to fight the Crab Feeder, which is this guy over here. Look at that. He's got grayscale. So yeah, this guy's causing, and his like pirates are causing havoc for Corlys Velaryon and his trade ships. He needs help. Viserys doesn't want to do anything. And now with Viserys announcing that he's going to wed Alicent Hightower, that pissed him off. So he went to Daemon Targaryen to take care of this guy and his army. Which, I mean, that's going to take 2 seconds. I mean, what are these pirates going to do against an elite fleet and dragons? So they'll be taken out next episode. I mean, they built up his character, so he better do something noteworthy. But we'll see. What does Nedrock say? He can't even sit on the throne without getting hurt. Yes, that's right. Every episode so far, the Viserys Targaryen keeps getting an injury. And the Maesters are always treating his injuries. So we'll see. We'll see what the end result is. It's kind of like it's his body imitating the surroundings around him, right? Like the pieces of his dynasty are chipping away, and now his body's chipping away. And we'll see what the longevity of the effects of all those infections and shit on him are. Yeah. So yeah, the maggots, cleaning the maggots, that's a real thing. They still do that in hospitals. They have maggot treatment. So yeah, anyways, Corlys goes to Targaryen to form some sort of alliance because him and his family, his wife, they're just sick of being overlooked because they feel like they should be closer to the Targaryens and the king more than anybody since they share the same blood and come from the same place. But they feel like they've been getting disrespected. So these two are second sons, and they want to do their own thing. So they form an alliance. Corlys Velaryon wants Daemon to help him out, take care of the Crab King, and that's what's going to happen. So we'll probably get a good war fight scene next episode. So that would be cool. What do we got here? Great point, never not real. #man. You guys are just clowning on King Viserys, all right? He brought peace to the kingdom, okay? Give him a break. Jared Edson, I think I figured out why I don't care about the show because I don't have any character to care about or root for. I don't care about the king character. His daughter reminds me of Daenerys. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I like the characters so far, though. I like the family dynamics. I like their relationships. And like I said, I'm Team Daemon so far. I'm rooting for him. But, yeah, give it some time, man. Maybe you'll start to get attached to a few of these characters. Daenerys, she is like, Rhaenyra is kind of like Daenerys. Shit, their names even sound alike. But yeah, they are sort of alike. But give it some time. Give it some time. We're 2 episodes in. And I'll bless. There's one who is rumored to have been killed by the throne itself after it cut him too often. Yes, I don't want to spoil anything that could happen in the future. I said I wouldn't, even though I did look into the crystal ball that is YouTube and Google, and I looked extensively into the lore and what happens in the Dance of the Dragons. But I'll just leave it at that. So okay, so the end of the episode, we got Daemon Targaryen and Corlys forming alliance to take care of the Crab King. Like, look at these crabs. Like how? I mean, what can he do really? So he can control crabs. Big deal. I mean, what is that to a fucking dragon? Honestly. But the preview or the trailer for episode 3 is out on YouTube. So I watched that, and I think we're gonna get a good fight scene or a good battle scene next week. So that's gonna be exciting. I can't wait. Let's go to the chat. What did you guys think of the episode? Keep chatting down there. What you guys thought. I think I covered most of the things in this episode, but I want to hear what you guys thought and what you guys would rate it. Like I said, I would give it 3.5 O's out of 5. I would. I liked it. It was quieter, but I felt like a lot of pieces moved forward and a lot of relationships got fractured, causing more rifts in the Targaryen dynasty that are going to play out. So, yeah, I do see what when you guys were talking about how it's kind of a different feel than Game of Thrones and how maybe you're not getting attached to some of the characters. But I like the characters so far. I think they're doing a good job. But I would like someone to be the Joffrey. I would like someone to fill the void of Joffrey. I always looked forward to seeing that bastard every week. He is one of the greatest villains, man. Oh, man. What was his name? Gleason. Props to that actor. I know I think he retired from acting. But the kid who played Joffrey, oh, man. props to that actor, man. He played one of the greatest villains ever. I looked forward to watching him every week just to see what the hell he did or would do. He was such a great character to hate. Um, so that was good. And of course, Ramsay Bolton. I mean, there's so many great villains. Cersei. I mean, man, yeah, I can see what you're saying. I mean, we're only 2 episodes in. Okay, we're only 2 episodes in, but just thinking of like the original Game of Thrones and the legendary characters that came out of that, I miss it. I'm actually watching Game of Thrones right now, the original series. I'm on season 2. I'm like halfway with season 2, and I love it. It's like probably my 4th time rewatching the series, and never gets old. Never gets old. I love it. Okay, let's see here. Jared Edson says, about the only character I care for is Matt Smith because I watched Doctor Who, and that is the only reason why I wanted to see this show. Really? Okay. I never watched any of the Doctor Who's, but I know that's where I know he's in Morbius. I haven't seen Morbius yet, though. That's who I thought Daemon Targaryen was going to be, the next Joffrey. That's how Matt Smith hyped up his character, and that is far from the truth. His character just minor inconvenience. He is kind of a minor inconvenience so far. Like Daemon Targaryen, he's kind of like a spoiled brat who's just held Dragonstone hostage with his 2,000 men, just kind of taunting his brother. Yeah, you really can't hate the guy. But if you want someone to hate, I'm pretty sure the show is going to conjure up somebody to hate. Hopefully. Like, I want a Joffrey to hate. I don't know who it would be, though. Like, Otto Hightower? I don't see him. I could see if people are calling him Littlefinger 2.0, but we'll see. I mean, other than like pimping out his daughter, he doesn't really seem like that bad of a dude so far. Plus, he's always getting bullied by Daemon Targaryen, so he's always getting clowned on. So maybe you can't blame him. Cersei was hot too. Cersei was hot, but she wasn't my favorite. Who was my favorite girl in Game of Thrones? If I had to pick a number one, I don't mean to objectify women for all you sensitive jabronis out there, but I am. I think the finest girl in Game of Thrones, for me, would have to be either. Their names sound so much alike. It'd be Melisandre, the Red Priestess, or Missandei, Daenerys' main girl. Oh man, that girl was fine. Grey Worm's girl, Missandei. Yeah, I loved her. Who else? There were so many baddies in this show, honestly. Jared Edson says, are you describing Daemon or Loki? Because that's Loki in the MCU. He does feel like Loki, doesn't he? And Jared says, I really think they based him off Loki, and I don't hate Loki, so first issue there. Yeah, man, maybe you're just not supposed to. I don't know why you want to hate Daemon so much, man. I don't know why you want to hate him so much. You like the actor? The character's not that bad? You don't gotta hate him. Nothing to be mad about that. Marjorie Tyrell. Oh, yeah, Marjorie. She was a smoke show? Marjorie Tyrell, yeah. First, she was supposed to marry Renly, the gay king. That was such an awkward situation, too. That whole situation. And then the Tyrells, right? Talk about, like, jumping ship. Like, they were going to war with the Lannisters and Stannis, and within one night, boom, they changed their alliance, the Tyrells. So that's your top? That's your top girl? Oh, yeah. All right, so anybody in there, who was your favorite girl or guy in Game of Thrones? Doesn't matter. Marjorie Tyrell, yeah, she was up there. She got her ass blown up in the Sept, along with the High Sparrow. So, yeah, Marjorie Tyrell, R.I.P. She was a good one, though. Let's see. I think that's about it that we wanted to brush up on this episode. If you guys have any more questions, what do you guys want to talk about, Game of Thrones related, put it down in the comment section. I'm trying to see what other big plot points I missed. I think I talked about all I wanted to talk about, especially with your guys' help. Like, I almost forgot about talking about the king, Viserys, always getting hurt on the throne. So thanks to Nevrock for pointing that out. Jared Edson says, because I want a character to hate, and clearly they wanted to make him unlikable, which was said by Matt Smith. Seemed like they missed the mark on that. Nevrock says, Tyrion's so hot. Hey, man, he's a good-looking dwarf, man. He put dwarfs on the map. So, Tyrion. Yeah, Tyrion's the man. Tyrion's the man. And also, thank God they didn't do this. Fun fact about Game of Thrones. In the second season where Tyrion is fighting in the Battle of Blackwater, and he gets his face sliced in half, in the book, he gets his nose like completely cut off. So he looks terrible. He just looks like shit. So I'm so glad they didn't do that. Because I'm so glad they just gave him a huge scar. But Tyrion, if dwarves are your thing, man, yeah, he's not bad. No one really hated Thanos. He was a great villain. Oh, yeah. Thanos is a great villain. And honestly, after my disappointment in the MCU so far, especially the Disney Plus MCU shows, I wish Thanos won. I'm dead serious. I wish Thanos won, man. The way the MCU has turned out post Endgame, there's far and few hits in between. Like, really, the only thing they've given us noteworthy is No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home. Everything else, yeah, I wish Thanos won. I wish he snapped everyone. I wish everyone was gone. R.I.P. Tony Stark, but yeah, I wish Thanos won. Hashtag Thanos should have won. But yeah. Yeah, you could be a villain and not be hated, but I think Jared's saying that Matt Smith said that he was supposed to be a vile villain from all the interviews, and he's not represented that way or being portrayed that way, which I don't mind. I didn't see that interview, but Jared responds, unpopular opinion, I hate Endgame and love Infinity War. I don't like Endgame. That's actually not an unpopular opinion. I know a lot of people who didn't like where Endgame, the route it took. And upon further rewatches, yeah, Endgame, it's fun. Like, the first half is fun. Like, the whole back in time. But, yeah. In terms of rewatchability, Infinity War all day. Infinity War all day. I love Infinity War. I think the golden years of the MCU are like 2014 to 2018. That when Infinity War came out, that was like the golden time of the MCU. So many hits. No Way Home and Shang-Chi are the only two good. Oh yeah, Shang-Chi was pretty good. So you think No Way Home and Shang-Chi are the only two good Phase 4 movies? Sure. Shang-Chi was alright. It was decent. It took me like 3 tries to watch. I would just watch like that movie. I'd watch like 40 minutes and watch maybe 30 minutes. It took me like 3 days to finish it. But it wasn't. I didn't hate it. What else is the MCU? Let's go ahead and let's sidetrack to MCU. What else came out? What other movies? I think Black Widow, right? Black Widow. Oh, that was such a boring movie. And Taskmaster. Don't get me started on that. What they did with that villain. Eternals. Watched about 40 minutes. I fell asleep. Haven't gone back to finish it. What other movies came out? Thor, haven't watched it yet. Doctor Strange, haven't watched it yet. I really just haven't been invested in Marvel at all. I gotta watch Doctor Strange though. The last Marvel show series I gave a chance was Moon Knight, because David Feige went out of his way and said it's going to be dark, gritty, mature. And it was the opposite. It was goofy as hell. And Moon Knight was not intimidating or interesting at all. Good acting, great acting by Oscar Isaacs. But it's comedy. Like, as soon as the hippo showed up in like the 4th episode, when they're in the afterlife thing, I checked out. I have not finished the series since. As soon as that big giant hippo lady showed up, I was like, I'm out. Such a disappointment. Jared Edson, the movie did not need to be 3 hours long, especially since most of the screen time was time traveling. I don't care about time traveling. Plot is lazy. Yeah, that's fair. Like, I've definitely rewatched Infinity War way more than Endgame. Doctor Strange was a huge disappointment. It says Nevrock21. I still gotta watch it. I still gotta watch it. I'm just so checked out of Marvel right now. I'm so worn out that I haven't got to any of it. Jared Edson, I hate Thor, Love and Thunder. The movie didn't take anything seriously. I like it when a film balances comedy and seriousness. But nope, the film just was like, haha, look at this dark moment. We funny. I've heard a lot of arguments that say the same thing, which makes me apprehensive about watching because it did look too goofy. Like, I like the Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor. I think James Gunn should have made a movie with them too, or those properties. James Gunn should have just directed a movie with Thor and the Guardians. That would have been great. Everything else, bringing in Jane Foster for Lady Thor, did not give a shit. But just hearing that, say that it's more of a comedy, yeah. And I mean, this is a Game of Thrones themed show, but screw it, we're going off the rails. This has turned into shitting on the MCU show, or yeah. So if we're gonna just criticize the MCU, yeah, all these are fair points. Like Thor's progression. Like I love Thor Ragnarok. That had the perfect balance of comedy, great action, and story. The evolution and the progression of Thor throughout Ragnarok into Infinity War was great. And then ever since then, they turned him into a big joke. Same with the Hulk. Like, how do you go from Thor doing what he did to Infinity War to Thor being the Big Lebowski and then being just a goof? So, and Hulk, don't get me started on the Hulk and She-Hulk. I did watch the first episode of She-Hulk, and I didn't hate it, but I was like, I'm not trying to be lectured, okay? Especially by that character. She was so unlikable, the Jen whatever, the She-Hulk. She was such an unlikable character. I didn't like that, or I didn't like the first episode. I'm just waiting for Daredevil to show up, and I might check it out. Jared Edson, the Doctor Strange 2 was a mess for a movie called Multiverse of Madness. It's barely about the multiverse. In fact, they only visit one multiverse in the film. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, I don't care about spoilers, so just hearing that, yeah, that's a disappointment. I do know I've seen on Instagram and stuff like the pictures of the Illuminati with Fantastic Fours, Reed Richards played by John Krasinski. They got Black Bolt. I've seen, I couldn't escape the spoilers from that scene, so I kind of know what happens there. But yeah, it's disappointing. And for some reason, every Doctor Strange in a different universe looks the same, just with some minor hair changes, yet Spider-Man, different multiverse, looks completely different. Yeah, but the multiverse, or the Spider-Man's multiverse, that's a different property. That's Sony, so I don't even think that's in the same universe, is it not? But all right, I mean, I could talk about the disappointment that is Phase 4 MCU. I mean, I could have a whole 3-hour show dedicated to that, but I think I'm going to wrap things up here. But this was a House of the Dragon episode 2 show, and we've just derailed it into shitting on the MCU, which is fun these days. It deserves it. The MCU Phase 4, oh my god, they got a lot to make up. They got a lot to make up for. Let's just hope Black Panther 2 closes it out strong. But all right, everyone, thanks for joining in, participating in the chat. Remember to like the video on your way out. I plan to do episode 2 talk every Monday. Hopefully, I'm going to aim for every Monday after each episode releases. So thanks, everyone, for joining in. Everyone in the comment section, give yourself a round of applause. You guys were just as much a part of the show as I was. Okay, so once again, I am Owie of House Owie-nitis. So all you Owie-nites out there, thank you for joining in, and I will see you all next time. See you, everybody.